guys. My name is Sydney. I've been deciding on starting a vlog the past couple months to just kind of talk about something that our society doesn't really talk about a ton. From personal experience, mental health has been something that's ridden, especially the female side of my family. My maternal grandmother was bipolar 1, my own mother was bipolar 1, and within the past year or so I've been kind of analytically looking at myself, and it just got to the point where there was too much evidence for me to ignore the fact that I am also bipolar. I myself identify as bipolar 2, which is kind of a less extreme version of bipolar 1. I don't have like these outbursts where I need to go shop or I need to go do something insane. I just have more of the mood instability, and that's kind of hindered my life. Personally, I think the reason why it took me so long to identify myself was because I kind of grew up with a negative bipolar figure. My mom was very unregulated, very medicated, self-medicated, something that I guess is popular among the bipolars, is thinking that you can medicate yourself, instead of listening to the dosages that your doctor gave you because of their medical experience. You can just pop another because, I'm feeling a little crazier today. But when you're messing around with that kind of stuff, it fucks with you. Like, I remember going into my mom's room and she used to mix her alcohol with her medication and pass the fuck out for days sometimes. So I guess I should start with my own experiences. I've had anxiety since I can remember, honestly. My mom used to have to like change the car clock to the radio station so I didn't hyperventilate because we were going to be late. She was always late. So yeah, I definitely struggled a lot more with the anxiety side of bipolar, but recently I've had a lot of personal events that I'll elaborate more on maybe, that have made me experience the depression to an unhealthy level. It's weird to talk about this because I'm a control freak, which is also not a good pair with being bipolar, not having control of yourself or your feelings, or not thinking that you have control. So I would say this time last year, I was in a very, very dark place. My mom had finally had enough with her own bipolar battle, and she took off for Florida, and I'm from New York, so don't kill me or anything. But that really took a toll on me mentally, emotionally. My mom and I have always shared like a very close relationship, like not a regular mother-daughter, like it was like sisters. And she was my best friend, no matter how many fuck things I saw growing up. She was my best friend. So her leaving fucked me up, to say the least. Whenever I would have an anxiety attack, whenever I didn't know how to deal with what was going on with me, I would call my mom. She would talk me out of hyperventilating. She would talk me down from the edge, I guess. And without having that, I only had me, which isn't bad, but when you grow up depending on someone else to regulate your emotions, and then all of a sudden that disappears, it's not an easy thing. So something that I've just kind of admitted to myself and haven't really admitted to other people. I had a situation last year where I told people that, well, not a bunch of people, I'm not like, oh my gosh, listen to this, But my boyfriend, my family, that I had blacked out, and when I came to, my boyfriend was holding my wrists, and I had an X-Acto knife in my hand. I didn't black out. I remember very vividly going to my desk and rummaging through my drawer for it. I didn't know what I was going to do. All I know is that I snapped. And it scared me because I don't not want to be here. I just know that I had gotten to the point where I wanted it to stop. I guess, I don't know. It's just a hard thing to come to terms with. But since then, you know, I'm doing a lot better. I'm in school. I'm going to be I'm getting my BSN and becoming a labor nurse. I work with an 18-year-old boy with Down syndrome. I integrate him into society. I'm a server, a sister of 5, and obviously I have a boyfriend and we have a dog. She's adorable, but also a crackhead. So I guess the whole point of this, after my rambling, is because I know what it's like to feel lost. I know what it's like to feel like you have no control and that you just don't want to do it anymore, whatever that means for you. Recently, I've had a situation where someone who I thought was like a family member to me turned on me and spewed probably the most hateful things you could think of. You know, I had confided in that person on many occasions, especially when I was in my dark phase, I call it. And they went around and said that I was fucked in the head, just, you know, targeting my mental health because they knew that that was something that I was sensitive about. And the fact that in my current positive state, and the effect that those words had on me in that state was debilitating, to say the least. I was shaking. You know, to hear someone that you cared about and thought so highly about spew these negative things to you is heartbreaking. It's not okay to make people feel inadequate because of their mental health. It's not okay to be mean to people. I don't care if they have mental issues or not. Being mean to people is wrong. So, I would kind of like this vlog or whatever it turns out to be a space where people can ask questions, because that was one of the first things that I did when I was kind of identifying as bipolar. I went on YouTube because it's 2018. And I found a video of a girl who explained how she had used, you know, alcohol to cope with herself, and she had gotten to the point where she was abusing it, and, you know, explaining kind of what her triggers are, what she does to treat them, whatever. But the point of that wasn't me. Something that I'm realizing is there isn't one cure, one treatment for everyone. You know, I went through trying to be a vegan, which I love meat, I love ribs, I love burgers, but I was at such an extreme where I would try anything to feel better. Not anything, like anything good. I was waking up at 5:30 and going on runs, but that didn't help because I'm the type where if I do a lot, if I overexert myself one day, then I have a high probability of feeling like complete shit the next day and not wanting to get out of bed. So that didn't work for me. Eventually, I went to my doctor and was honest, because I was the type to put on a face, you know, a front. I was fine. Everything was fine. I'm great. I'm physically okay, so mentally I'm gonna try to, smudge it and, fake it. Um, what I love about my doctor so much is that he doesn't push medications on me, and that's something that I was very adamant from the beginning. I want to try to do bipolar as natural as I can. I don't want to rely on medications because, like I said, I grew up with a mother that if she ran out of a certain prescription that week, that the whole rest of the week would be hell for the rest of us, and herself. Um, so I went to my doctor finally and told him that I had had enough. I'm in school. I can't be having mental breakdowns and missing a lot, especially being in the science field. You miss one day and you're like, what just happened? So I ended up going on a medication. Citalopram, it's called. That's like the generic name. I don't know. It's like a mixture of 3 different things. It's an SSRI. So it stays in your system. It builds up into your system, and it's like always in your system once you're regularly taking it. And so he put me on a 10 milligram dosage, which is the lowest dosage you can go, once a day. Before the medication, I had tried to explain to people that, like, I felt like I was in a video game, like the perspective where your figure or your avatar's in front of you and you're controlling them, and you're seeing what's going on and you're interacting with people and you're making those choices, but it's not you. So that's one thing that I was struggling with a lot was I didn't feel like I was living. I felt like I was there. People would have conversations with me and like I would be glazed. Like I had no clarity in my mind. Like my mind was always racing with other things. A lot of things, a lot of stressful things that shouldn't happen to people. But do. And the issue is when those stressful things happen, you need to be able to cope with them. And that's what I was missing. I was missing that coping. I would snap. Like, I'm usually very level headed. I'm monotone, so that carries out to my character. But when these things would happen, I was so reactionary that the people around me were like, Sydney, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Like, I yelled at my Mimi. My Mimi is this little lady, little Christian lady, sweetest little thing, smells amazing, and I yelled at her. And when that happened, I like took a step back and I was like, whoa, that is fucked up, Sydney. And that wasn't the only situation. I was mean to my boyfriend, very mean to my boyfriend, because for me, that was the replacement for my mom. And I was just targeting him when he was not the only person, but the main person there that was my backbone. I feel like I'm rambling, but I feel like everything that I'm saying hopefully helps someone because I don't know, I'm just a mess. I'm bipolar. What do you want from me? I'm a Scorpio with bipolar. So where was I? So I'm on this medication, and after I'm taking it for a month or so, I'm starting to realize that I'm not feeling like a video game anymore. This is probably the most clarity that I've had in my mind since I could remember. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I would like to continue on with this because I hate to think that there's anyone out there that feels like this, because I know how much it sucks. I know how society looks at us. I know how a lot of people don't believe that this is a thing, that depression isn't a thing, that anxiety isn't a thing, bipolar isn't a thing, mental illness isn't a thing. But I'm here to tell you that it fucking is. And it really fucking sucks. And until you get a handle on it, and even when you do have a handle on it, sometimes you slip, you're not alone. I will leave off on this. The one person that I looked up online that really helped me was Dr. K. Jamison, and that's with an I, Jamison. She's really awesome, really, really awesome. She goes around, I don't know if it's just within the US, but she goes around and she speaks She loves speaking at colleges because what she explained in one of the videos was, you know, they want her to go speak at bookstores and like bigger companies and whatnot, but she loves speaking at colleges because people can live their life, you know, without hindrances of bipolar, and stressful events can really trigger it. And school, if anyone has ever been in school, they know how stressful it can be. And she wants to talk to those kids. She wants to talk to the population that is at most risk. So, what she had said was, and that really hit home for me, is that she's tired of people like me staying quiet, because that just allows society to continue to believe that mental illness means you're fucking batshit crazy, which, you know, we all are, but it's fine. We're functioning, we're thriving. But she wants people to speak up, and I think I'm in a place where it's my turn to speak up. No matter who hears me, no matter if you just scroll by this or don't even watch to the end, someone will, because someone needs to hear this message. Someone needs to know that being called a psycho isn't okay. The way that that makes you feel isn't okay. And that just because your life is a little bit more confusing does not mean it's worth anything less. Another quote that I actually found on Instagram: if you're feeling anxious, you're thinking too far forward, and if you're feeling depressed, you're thinking too far back. And as simple as a quote that is, it really hit home for me. So when you're feeling anxious, think about why. And stop thinking about that and live in the moment, because you never know when you're going to go. You really don't. I've lived a life where I've seen a lot of people pass, and just live with no regrets. Don't live to conform. Don't live to avoid people judging you. Live to make yourself happy, because at the end of the day, that's all you have. So, I hope I help someone, and if this has enough response, I would like to help a lot of other people.